Well, welcome to episode 125 of the Family Answer Man podcast. Today we're talking about how gratitude can change your spiritual and mental health from a biblical worldview. I'm your host, David Orgis, and I'm here with Dr. Mark Crosby. He is a pastor, educator, mental health professional, and he's, of course, the resident expert here on the Family Answer Man podcast. Family Answer Man is not a therapy session. We're not able to give specific advice to your unique circumstances, but we do believe that spiritual and mental health are very serious and important issues. So we want to encourage you, if you need to, seek professional help for your unique circumstances, and definitely don't let those things go undiscussed. Before we jump in today, if you would go ahead and hit that notification bell and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of the Family Answer Man, that'd be fantastic. And if you are listening via podcast, go ahead and rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. That helps get us to the top of everybody's feed, and that helps us to grow the Family Answer Man community. And as always, you can just invite your family and friends to join you on this journey of building stronger, healthier, happier families. Well, Dr. Mark, good to be here with you today. We've got a big question today, big topic, topic that is timely for the season.
Right.
We're pulling up to Thanksgiving and then through Christmas and the holidays, but talking about gratitude and how it can change your spiritual and mental health.
Right.
Do you find that is a perspective that a lot of people take, or is that kind of something that, although it seems like we should know that gratitude can have an impact on us or how it impacts us, that's something that we might overlook a little bit?
Yeah, I think, gratitude is something that hopefully most of us learned, in church, something we learned maybe at home. We learn to say thank you and please.
Right,
and,
please and thank you.
The general, kind words that we're called to give and share to those who are kind to us especially. Mm-hmm. And so being thankful, being grateful is a way of life for many people. As we get older, sometimes not so much. As we get older, sometimes we have a sense of entitlement. And we feel like, certain things should go our way. And if they don't, we become very bitter. For others, they feel like, I don't have to be as grateful because I worked for it. I did it. This is something that I put together. And so therefore, the only person I should be grateful to is to me, so to speak. But the reality is, once you begin to realize that, God owes you nothing and has given you and blessed you in so many ways, whether that be with your family, your friends, just the material blessings of life, home, car, food, that sort of thing, or hopefully your health, then there's a sense of gratitude that begins to kind of come out of your heart and soul, and you begin to express that. And the older you get, the wiser you get, hopefully, the more grateful you'll become. And so the Thanksgiving season is that kickoff for many for the holiday season, whereby we are called to pause and give thanks and to be grateful for the blessings from God. And when you do that, something begins to happen to you. When you stop and pause and reflect on the ways you have been blessed, the ways God has shown up, the way that you have received certain things in spite of maybe your own choices and some of your own decisions. The fact that God has come through, the fact that God has blessed you. And even when you've had maybe, as we're about to see in this question, a bad year, quote unquote, most of us here in the United States, our bad year is most of the world's population's best year.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think we need to be mindful of that. And so my point is that, we all have difficult times. We have difficult seasons. Things don't always go our way. But even in those areas, if we choose to be thankful, if we choose to be grateful, if we choose to pause and to have a grateful spirit, then that begins to impact us emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. And I think what this season is all about, how gratitude and thankfulness can improve your spiritual and emotional and mental well-being.
Well, there you go. That is I think, a great intro that sets the table for this Thanksgiving feast that we're going to have of gratitude.
Yes.
If you want to have your question answered, we would love to do that. You can email us. The email address is familyanswerman@liveoak.church. familyanswerman@liveoak.church. That's a great way to get your questions into us, and we'd love to hear those from you and respond to them. The question for today is this. It's a long question. There's some background to it, and so here we go. It says, this has been a tough year for us. My husband's health is getting worse, and his work has been limited. Our oldest daughter is not speaking to us because we disagree with her lifestyle. Our youngest child dropped out of school. My parents are needing financial help, and we are their only resource. He feels like, and this is her husband, feels like he has nothing to be thankful for. He's depressed and feels like being thankful is something that he can't do. This Thanksgiving, my husband said, quote, "We won't be giving thanks because we have nothing to be thankful for." What advice can you offer?
Wow. So again, this question and this circumstance, I'm sure, is not isolated, meaning I'm sure there are many people out there who have some experience in this area where they are struggling with, maybe what happened this year, maybe their job not going well, maybe their health is not going well, maybe their family is not going well. And whenever you're feeling this way, the question is, what do I have to be thankful for? Nothing's going my way. Yeah. And so the point in saying all that is that, again, gratitude is often, again, as this person is saying without saying it, it is a choice. It is something we get to choose. We get to choose to be thankful or not. As many have discovered, I get to choose if I'm going to be thankful for what I have or to be unthankful or ungrateful for what I don't have. But we get to choose that. Am I going to focus on what I have, or am I going to focus on what I don't have? And so the point is that gratitude gets overlooked a lot. It's that attitude, if you will, in our heart and life that does bring some healing, it does bring some hope, and it can create a new trajectory in our life. Okay. And we forget that. And so when a person refuses to allow their heart and their life to be, and their attitude to be thankful, they're going to go into a pit of bitterness. They're going to a pit of cynicism. They're going to a pit, if you will, of simply just being very ungrateful and very caustic when it comes to the things of life. And so whenever you go down that road and fall into that pit, life doesn't look well, doesn't go well. And that's why God calls us, I will argue, to receive and express love, grace, and gratitude. Because when you are a person who chooses to love, when you're a person who chooses to be gracious, when you're a person who chooses to be grateful, then life begins to look better, feel better, sound better. And so gratitude is that attitude that really does need to be a part of who we are. It needs to be a part of our overall life, and it's something that needs to be practiced. So it's more than just saying thank you, which is important. It's more than just saying, hey, I appreciate that, which is important. But it's an attitude that must be practiced, even in the worst of circumstances. Because even in the worst of circumstances, you can find something that says, you know what? I can be grateful for this. I can be grateful that God's in this. I can be grateful for, what is happening here, or maybe how God's going to do something in this. It's more than just count your blessings. Whenever, I say that to people, and we've all had difficult seasons of life. Right. They say, yeah, no, count your blessings, count them one by one.
Right? Yeah. I was singing the song in my head.
But the reality is that even though that's important, being grateful and having and choosing gratitude is more than just a count your blessing moment. Okay. Because being thankful, and this is the point, it does recalibrate your mind. Being thankful does recalibrate your mind, which again, cause you to recalibrate how you're seeing the situation, how you're seeing your life, how you're seeing this particular season. Remember, life is one season after the other after the other. Seasons come, seasons go. Seasons have beginnings, seasons have endings. And so when you choose to be grateful in whatever season you're in, you get to choose, again, on what you have and focus on what you have as opposed to what you don't have. You get to choose how you're going to approach the situation. So this is why, again, some people have what I call gratitude journals. They will sit down and they will go through what they're going through in life. And maybe it's a very difficult season. Maybe it's a very difficult time. But they will write down what they're grateful for, even in this most difficult time. And then weeks later, months later, years later, they'll look back at this gratitude journal and they'll see how God prepared a way, how God was working in their life, how God was doing amazing things, how God got them through this very difficult situation. And so again, a gratitude journal is something that is powerful and important.
Yeah, and that reminds me of Paul's words that in Romans 12:2, that if we are transformed by the renewing of our mind, right? If we choose, like you said, to think with an attitude of gratitude, it can make a change.
Right. And this is why, again, I've had several mentors say, a grateful heart can never be defeated.
That's good. I like that. Say that again.
A grateful heart can never be defeated.
Nice.
And so again, we were just talking earlier, about some of our family and friends who maybe have loved ones who are in hospice care, maybe have loved ones who are maybe in the ICU or whatever. And we, grieve with them, and we're concerned about them, and we love them, and we, sympathize where they are. But the ones I've spoken with have said, even though my loved one is in a bad situation, I had, 55 great years with her or 55 great years with him. They changed my life, and I know they're believers, and I know they're on their way to heaven. Will I miss them? Yes. But am I grateful for their faith? Yes. Am I grateful for the time we've had? Absolutely. And when you have that kind of gratitude, it begins to soften the grief. It begins to soften some of the hurt and some of the pain, because a grateful heart can never be defeated. So how does gratitude help one's mental health? That's the question that some will ask. How does having a thankful spirit, a thankful heart, an attitude of gratitude, as we like to say, how does that help one's mental health? And I think, number one, be mindful that thankfulness is an attitude. It's like anything else. It's like joy. It's like love. It's like hope. And basically what it is, it's a deep appreciation to people as you bring thankfulness and grace and love into life. And so it's that deep appreciation. And so again, for those who want to kind of keep count, here are 5 mental health benefits of gratitude. Okay. 5 mental health benefits of gratitude. Number one, it creates positive social bonding. Okay. It creates positive social bonding. So in other words, if you're saying to someone, your spouse, your kids, your parents, your neighbor, your friend, whomever, your pastor, whomever that may be, if you let them know, I am so grateful for you. I am so thankful that God brought you into my life. I am so grateful for what I learned from you. I am so grateful for the times we've had. I am so grateful for the love we've shared. I am so grateful for the memories we've made. I'm so grateful for the experiences. And the list could go on. That does something to that relationship.
Right. Absolutely.
It creates that positive social bond. It creates that positive social connection. It creates, especially between husband and wife, parent and child, this amazing connection or attachment.
Attachment. Yeah, we've talked about that in the past.
And attachment is the word, that we use a lot around here, because it is a powerful word to describe healthy relationships. And so what does gratitude do? When you are grateful to those around you, when you're at your Thanksgiving table and you go around the room and you say, hey, I'm grateful for you, and here's why. I'm grateful for you, and here's why. I'm grateful for you, and here's why. I'm grateful for the things we've done and shared and learned and experienced and gone through and worked out. I'm grateful for these things. Then you can sense in that room that positive social bonding.
Right.
But when the only prayer at the Thanksgiving meal is, rub-a-dub-dub, thank God for the grub, when that's as good as it gets, then you're missing out on that positive social bonding. Yeah. And many who are listening just heard that. I'm sure I see you smiling out there, okay? Because that's, as for some people, the best prayer you can come up with. Right. But when you pause and are very sincere and thankful for God's blessing and God's, bounty and God's, grace and God's, involvement in your life, it really does help you to connect not only to your Heavenly Father, but it helps you to connect to those at the table.
Well, yeah, if you have that attitude and that approach, you're the kind of person that people want to surround themselves with. Just like we all know the person that comes into the room and they are that grateful, positive person. That's the kind of person that we want to surround ourselves with, because you instantly feel good when they walk in the room. Right. They're going to help you feel good, and you can do that and vice versa.
Absolutely. So the first thing that a mind of, or a choice of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude does, creates a positive social bonding. So if you're just tuning in, what we're talking about now are the 5 mental health benefits of gratitude that we need during this season. So no matter what kind of year you've had or where you are in life, and you may not be feeling very thankful right now, these, again, having an attitude of gratitude gives these 5 mental health benefits. As we said, number 1, positive social bonding. Number 2, it improves your mood. Creates joy, creates optimism. Yeah, you're either optimistic or you're pessimistic. Okay,
yeah, there's no neutral.
There's really no neutral ground. You're either a person of pessimism or a person of optimism. When a person is grateful, when a person has an attitude of gratitude, when a person gives thanks, they have this sense of optimism. So again, grateful people are going to be more optimistic. They're going to be more loving. And grateful people will push back on the bitterness that wants to enter into their heart and life. So the second thing gratitude does is, again, it improves your mood and creates joy and optimism. Number 3, gratitude will bolster resilience so that you can get well faster.
Okay.
So what it does is it bolsters the resilience that, again, it helps your immune system, if you will, to get well faster because, again, it is pushing back the depression. It's pushing back the anxiety. Mm-hmm. Here's an interesting study. Those who practice gratitude during COVID, so from March of 2020 to March of 2021, during that year, were less likely to be depressed, less likely to be anxious, and even use the pandemic to improve their life. And what the research discovered is some people discovered for the first time, especially adults, the power and the importance of online education.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't go into a classroom. They couldn't go, to the college campus. And so some who had plans to go to college, they went to some really good online schools and they discovered, you know what, I like learning like this. I can, get a degree like this. I can, get some courses that will transfer like this. Some began to learn a trade. They went out into their garage. They went out into their barn. They got on maybe a YouTube channel on how to change the oil in their car or whatever. And they learned how to do things of that nature. And so what happened is that because of this very serious time in life, they said, you know what, I'm going to be grateful. I don't understand what's going on. It's a crazy time. The kids are home from school. I can't go to college. I wanted to go to class. I can't go to work, but I'm just going to be thankful that, hey, what can I do with this? And they got, a better education. They learned a trade. They spent more time with their family. They spent more time outside. And so gratitude bolsters resilience to get well faster. Before, gratitude decreases stress. Stress, as we know, can increase heart rate. It can increase, raise your blood pressure, many other things. But gratitude decreases that stress. And by having an attitude of gratitude, it does reduce your heart rate and helps to reduce the release of what we call bad hormones.
Right.
Cortisol is what we call the stress hormone. But when too much cortisol is released, that's where you get your weight gain.
Right.
That's where you get a weakened immune system. That's where you get your cardiovascular problems. And so bottom line, when you have a sense of gratitude, it decreases the stress and it creates a more relaxed body state. So when you can be thankful for, your blessings and be thankful for, your job, be thankful for your family, be thankful for your home, when you actually pause and you take the time to say, God, I am just thankful, and then make the list or express that gratitude to your family and to friends, it does some amazing things to you emotionally, but also to you physically. Therefore, fifthly, an attitude of gratitude decreases the depressive symptoms, making joy and happiness much more substantial. So these depressive symptoms, again, for adults, that sense of dread, that sense of sadness, that sense of feeling as if no one cares. When you're grateful, it's going to reduce those symptoms of depression. So those are the 5 things that, and there's many others, but those are the top 5, I would argue, that does help a person with their mental and emotional state when you have this attitude of gratitude.
Okay.
So the next thing people want to look at is, but what about my spiritual life?
Right, because we've talked about the mental aspect, but there is a spiritual component.
And so again, gratitude definitely has a strong spiritual component, and there are 10 ways that gratitude can help your spiritual life. Number 1, if you're keeping count, thankfulness or gratitude connects us to grace. When you're thankful for the grace of God, we're saved by grace through faith, the Bible says. We are to walk in grace. Grace is fresh and new each morning in our life. When you are thankful for God's amazing grace, it connects you to that grace. When you realize, again, that God owes us nothing, but because of his amazing grace has given us so much.
He's given us everything, yeah.
There is that sense of gratitude, especially when you look back over your life and see all the times you've messed up, all the times you've blown it, all the times, you should have, but you didn't, or you wish you would have, but you did, or whatever. And that grace comes pouring through. When you're thankful for that grace, it connects you to that amazing grace of God. Number 2, it helps stabilize your mood by shifting your focus. Again, are you going to focus on what you have, or are you going to focus on what you don't have? Many people that I know, because they focus so much on what they don't have a hard time being thankful.
Yeah, they have a mindset of lack, right? Because it's their focus.
Right. But when you focus on what you do have, then you have this sense of thankfulness, the sense of gratitude. Look at what God has given me. Look at what I've been blessed with. It may be an old car, but it can be a clean car. It may be, it may be a small house, but it's your house. And so the point I'm making is that when you focus on what you do have and how God has blessed you, again, it really does stabilize your mood. Thirdly, it helps you to connect to God. An attitude of gratitude really does help us to connect to God. And some will say, well, where do you find that in the Bible? Well, Psalm 100 says, enter his gates with thanksgiving, enter to his courts with praise. So what happens is when you have a thankful heart unto God, it is going to evolve into praise. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, enter into his courts with praise. You go from thanksgiving or from the gates into the court. So the thanksgiving leads to the praise, and that, again, is what connects us to God, because God inhabits the praises of his people. That's right. Yeah. So that's important to note. Fourthly, if you're keeping count, gratitude. If you're just tuning in, what are the spiritual blessings of gratitude? It focuses your attention on what God is doing, not what you're upset about, thinking about, or not doing. So it focuses your attention on what God is doing in your life. Again, focusing on what do I have, not what I don't have. So it's that focus on God. I know you're doing something. I know that everything works together for those who love you, called according to your purpose. God, I know you're involved in my life. God, I know you're in this with me. God, I know you'll never leave me or forsake me. And so it creates that sense of focus on the attention of what God is doing in your life. Next, what does gratitude do for you spiritually? It guards you from entitlement, and it breaks through the selfishness of life. So many of us, have a sense of entitlement. I should be the senior pastor by now. I should be the CEO by now. I should be the president of the company by now. I should have $1 million in my retirement by now. I should have a newer car by now, or whatever it may be. And what happens is that if those dreams, of those goals, if that picture in your life has not been fulfilled, then there's a sense of ingratitude, because there's something inside of you that feels entitled. Yeah. But what happens is, if you're going, you know what, I may not be the CEO, but I'm the junior vice president. Okay. Okay. Right. Be grateful for that. Yeah. I might not be the head coach, but I'm the assistant coach. Okay. I can grow in that. I can learn from that. And the list could go on. But again, what gratitude does, it guards us from that sense of entitlement. Right. Which is important, because the Bible tells us that God elevates and rises up those that are humble. Right. He's opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Yeah. And so what gratitude does is it says, God, I am thankful for what I have. And I think the principle is that once we can be grateful for what we do have, God knows to bless us with more. God knows to give us more. God knows that we can handle more. God knows that we can be good stewards of more, how you want to put it. Yeah. And so gratitude really does create a sense of connection to God, and it guards us from that sense of entitlement. No one wants to be around someone who feels entitled. Right. Yeah, those are the people that you typically avoid. Exactly, and I hate to say it, but back in my day, someone who was entitled, we call them brats. Because they just felt like the world revolves around them. Number 6, it moves you towards fruitful solutions instead of again looking at problems in an unproductive way. Right. You can dwell on the problems, or you can look at what is like you said, a fruitful solution that actually helps you move forward. Right. Yeah. So it helps you with your problem solving. Number 7, it helps you celebrate your growth. So when you have an attitude of gratitude, you celebrate your growth as you celebrate how far you've come. For the pastor who had the 100-member church who now has a 500-member church or whatever, right. You have this sense of, wow, God, look at what you've done. Look at, without your help, without your involvement, without your blessing, without your, just grace, we wouldn't be here today. Unless the Lord builds a house, we labor in vain. And so the point is that you begin to celebrate your growth. Maybe you received a degree. Maybe your kids graduated high school, whatever it may be. But you celebrate the growth in your family, in your life. And when you celebrate that growth and you're thankful for what God has done, it gives you, again, that sense of connection, that sense of celebration in your life. Number 8, what does gratitude do for you? It basically helps you to see your journey, this journey that you're on, in a healthier way. When you're grateful, there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be pitfalls, But as you get through them, as you overcome them with a grateful heart, it helps you to see your journey in a much healthier way. Next, number 9, it slows you down, invites you to take in your life and be more relationally present. So gratitude slows you down and invites you to take in your life to be more relationally present. I'm hoping that this Thanksgiving Day, that many who are listening will look around and think and be thankful for the people in their life.
Yeah.
They'll be thinking about how God blessed them. That son, that daughter, that person who drove in from out of town, that parent, who is still able to, cook a wonderful meal.
Right.
And you slow down for a moment and you take in, the love and the grace that you find in these people, and you begin to recognize, I need to be more relationally present. I need to put my arms around my mom. I need to, shake my dad's hand. I need to hug my dad's neck. I need to tell my kids how much I love them. But look at those in your life with that sense of kindness and loving affection. And last of all, what does gratitude do? It helps build stronger connections and meaningful relationships. As we said at the very beginning, when you're grateful for those around you, it really does make a difference in your heart and in your life. So real quickly, for those who are just tuning in, we're talking about a person who says, I have nothing to be thankful for.
Right.
They've had a tough year. They have nothing to be thankful for. It sounds like they're in a state of depression. It sounds like they're very bitter. So here is what I would offer, basically as certain exercises or certain steps to take. And most of you know these, but just as a way of review, if you're going through a sense of I have nothing to be thankful for, or I'm depressed during the holidays, I want you to do some of these things that may be helpful to you. There's 10 of them, and I'll make it quick. Number 1, if you're just tuning in, things you can do to fight off depression during the holidays. Number 1, exercise every day. Movement helps. Motions help emotions.
That's good. Motions help emotions.
Motion helps emotion. So exercise every day. So maybe on Thanksgiving Day, if it's nice outside, take a walk around the block, go outside with the kids, kick the soccer ball, shoot the basketball, throw the football. Number 1. Number 2, prayer. I know that prayer is something that we all know about and realize we need to do more of. But prayer does simply mean leaning into God, let God lean into you with whatever's going on in your life. But it really does help. Number 3, read your Bible. It's the Christmas season or about to be. Read Matthew's account, read Luke's account of that first Christmas. Get some sleep, fourthly. Try to get a good night's sleep. Try to enjoy maybe some time off during the holidays and get some good night's sleep. As we mentioned earlier, have a thankful journal. Things that you're thankful for, the people you're thankful for. And one day, your kids, your grandkids may read that journal and go, wow, I never knew this is how Grandpa thought. I never knew this is what Grandma was going through. Yeah. Number 6, really spend some positive family time, meaning bring a sense of positive, gracious love into the environment. Be friendly with your family. I had one person say to me not that long ago that, holidays for the unhealthy family is a exercise of let's pretend. It's an exercise of let's pretend. No, bring in a sense of joy and hope and friendliness to your family. Go outside, especially if you can, and during the Thanksgiving, season, the holiday season, Thanksgiving Day, and just breathe in, fill your lungs full of air, breathe in, breathe out. Just really enjoy and sense God's presence. Eat something good, hopefully on Thanksgiving Day, you can eat healthy, but also eat something good. Eat something that you can go, hey, this is amazing. Also too, if you're haven't chosen yet to take certain supplements or vitamins, maybe let that be a part of your routine. Stay hydrated. But again, this is really a wonderful time of year. It really can be a wonderful life. And what makes it a wonderful life is if you have this attitude of gratitude. It'll affect you spiritually. It'll affect you emotionally. And for this one who wrote in and says, I have nothing to be thankful for, I hope and pray you'll listen to this program and realize all the things you can be thankful for and let God work in your life. Just be grateful for the things that you see around you. Let Him work in your life and choose to be grateful and see what God can do in that situation.
Well, there you have it from the Family Answer Man. We hope that you will, this holiday season, choose to be grateful and to make changes that'll lead to a stronger, healthier, happier family.